Special grade in JJK is considered to be the absolute peak of power, and only 4 characters have this label officially throughout the entire series. However, the way this title is given creates a very funny loophole, where many characters can be considered special grades even if they are very far off in terms of physical stats, and other characters who can go toe-to-toe with special grades don't get the title themselves. Now first off, what allows a person to be considered a special grade? Now the big thing that lets you be one is if you're considered a nation level threat, where your abilities would allow you to destroy or conquer a nation by yourself. We see this with Geto, who is far weaker physically than his special grade members, but due to his insane curse technique, he is still considered to be one. As for the other special grades, the usual reason they are considered one is their most powerful attacks. For Yuki, it is her black hole, Yuta, it is his love beams, and for Gojo, it is like 15 different things because he's Gojo. So the question is, who does and doesn't have an ability like that? First up, who does? Now let's start with some obvious characters. Ryu Ishigori was a fighter in the Calling games. He's a reincarnated sorcerer like some of the other people we'll discuss, and also has the greatest cursed energy output of all players in the Calling games. Now, does he have any city level attacks? And if so, are they strong enough to give him the title? Well, the most important ability for him is his Granite Blasts, which were able to clash with Yuta's Love Beams, the same attack that easily keeps him at the special grade level. But this isn't technically the same Love Beam that clashed with Geto's Uzumaki. You see, after JJK 0 and Rika moved on, the Rika Yuta has now is just a manifestation of his cursed energy, and not nearly as powerful as the original Rika. But you also have to realize that Yuta is now a far more experienced fighter. He's way better with a sword, has a ton more techniques, and mastery of RCT. And controlled power is usually far stronger than raw power. But I know some people will still argue that he's weaker than the previous version of himself, but all that matters is that even without Rika, he was still able to regain his special grade rank. So no matter what, Ryu's Granite Blast should put him at the city level danger, and have the power to conquer a nation. So that would give him a special grade rank. Now next up is a more funny example of a character who is special grade rank because of how the system works. Yeah, I'm just gonna call you Dhruv. Now what makes him a threat is his huge independent Shinigamis that actually managed to give him the most point out of any players in his colony before his death. These things made him safe from the other extremely strong sorcerers in his area, even including Ryu. And seeing the destruction he was causing to the city, it's fairly safe to say that he'd get placed in the rank of the special grades. Because as I said before, even if you lack physicals, you can still get the rank if your curse technique is the main threat you have. And we even see that with another sorcerer who in terms of strength isn't very high up, with that being Principal Yagi. Because he has the knowledge to be able to make an army of cursed puppets. And the only reason he hasn't is because he considers his power as a curse and would never use it for that. But he literally does have the potential to be a nation level threat, simply because he can make a literal army. He's just Dhruv on crack. But my overall favorite character that falls into this category:
Cursed spirit manipulation, supreme art.
has to be Mechamaru. Now Mechamaru in terms of strength already has the statements that would let him fall into at least having the physicals to be a special grade. But does he have the ability to do a nationwide threat? Fucking yeah. Not only does he have a literal fucking Megazord, but he has his own puppets. Now some of these puppets do seem to be weaker than others and are only controlled by him, but some of the weaker ones do seem to have an AI in them where they can move by themselves. So not only does he have a small militia of Mechamaru robots, but also a giant fucking Megazord. Not to mention, he was doing all this in secret, keeping it hidden from the school. Imagine what he'd do without people watching over him. So, we've seen characters that are special grades from loopholes, but what about other characters who aren't special grade because of this loophole?
They stole it from me, Carmine! They took it! That was today! Today!
Kashimo is someone who fought on par with Akari, someone who is on Kashimo's level but isn't considered a special grade due to the higher-ups not liking him. Now he shows off some insane destructive feats in his fight against Akari, and he wasn't even using his curse technique there. But the real question is, can he use lightning on a level that gets him into being a nationwide threat? I believe he can, but only in his curse technique release state. Now that state has a time limit and he can only use it once. So looking at it from the eyes of a corrupt noble, I would not give him the title. Sorry buddy, your Kusakabe tier.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What?
Another character who has a similar case to this is Higuruma. Now this guy has a lot of abilities. Curse tools, the ability to change the size of his curse tools. A blade that kills anyone one touch. Domain amplification. Domain expansion. Reverse curse technique. At this point, you could give this guy a book about new shadow style and in 2 hours he'd be the next Kusakabe. But even with all those abilities, he doesn't get the special grade title. You see, he lacks the ace that would boost his destructive power. He might have an ace if he's fighting you one-on-one, but we are talking about versus an entire nation, and he just doesn't have the firepower for that. For our final two characters, I want to use two people I'm stuck on, and honestly not sure if they are or aren't special grade tier. First is Uro. Now her sky manipulation makes her almost immune to hand-to-hand combat and projectiles if she knows they are coming, and her thin icebreakers are insanely strong critical hits. But I want to know her limit when it comes to sky distortion. Like, how long can she use it? Because we never get to see her exhaust herself fully. The reason she loses is because of the domain clash, giving her cursed energy burnout, because I feel like she is way stronger than people give her credit for. So she is stuck in this weird in-between spot of not having an insanely destructive ace, but being able to use whatever the nation throws at her and send it right back at them. Still, maybe tier. Urame suffers from a real lack of on-screen fights. We never get to see just what their limit is, and by that, I mean the limit of their ice creation. Like, if I saw them create an entire iceberg in the middle of their fight with Akari, I'd be giving them the label easily. But due to their best stuff happening off screen, we don't get to see what they can really do. The physical stats are on the level of Akari, but without an on-panel stuff to show us how destructive they can be, it puts them in a weird spot like Uro. Maybe tier again. But that's all the sorcerers I have time for today. I'm sure I missed a few others, so let me know in the comments below who you think is special grade and who you think isn't. I'm finally back in the mood for JJK videos, so expect some more in the future. If you got time, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye.